Hello, good morning. There she is. Yay!
Hi.
I love when a plan comes together, just like that.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Great to see you.
Good to see you.
I thought I might jump on a minute early and give you a little time to get here, but you're here. I'm going to get us started right away. Well, welcome everyone.
Yep.
Welcome. I am Rachel. I am community manager here at Alloy Women's Health. We are a telehealth platform bringing science-backed, evidence-based menopause hormonal solutions direct to you. And today I'm so pleased to welcome back to Alloy Dr. Vonda Wright, an authority on active aging and sports medicine, a speaker, author, podcaster, and orthopedic surgeon. Here with me this time live to talk about healthfully strengthening and about her Midlife Mastery Retreat, which she's offering in May and again in August to all of us in midlife and beyond. Dr. Wright, welcome. In reading through your Midlife Mastery Retreat materials, I noticed some things I found particularly compelling and thoughtful with regards to the women who go. And that is that the program is kind of siloed. So there's an experience for women in each of these snapshots or silos, if you will, that provides them information and strategies for continuing once they leave this time with you. I want to unpack some of those and give you a chance to speak to why this one matters and this one matters and this one matters, but just to sort of ground us here, I'm imagining that most of the women who join you for your retreat are experiencing, whether they know it or not, the musculoskeletal syndrome of menopause. So I want to invite you to let us know what that is and why do so many of us have it.
Some of them are experiencing it. Some of them just know they fit the time frame and want to get in front of midlife. Some of them really just have hot flashes, brain fog, all those things. So I think what's interesting about my approach to midlife, because I've been a doctor for 30 years, and before that I was a nurse. And so I have a deep understanding of taking care of people. And there are some people who are completely DIY. They do it themselves. They read the book. They read Mary Claire's book, which is out today.
Right? Yes.
Her new book. Or Dr. Sharon, whose book was out
Yes.
last week, your medical director. Both amazing.
Yeah.
You can DIY it. Some people, that's fine. Other people, and I find this is most people, are good with information, but they need somebody to walk beside them or physically say, here is what you do.
Right.
And that's what the Midlife Mastery Retreats do. And I'm going to tell you, I could be no less happy. I could be no more happy. I'm ecstatic that Alloy, my Alloy, is sending Corinne Men, Dr. Corinne Men.
I know. I was going to mention, yes.
This time around in May. Our May event is closed, but our August is wide open, as is our November. But we're so thankful for the partnership and you sending Dr. Men, because what do we cover? Well, Dr. Men is going to spend 2 full hours talking about menopause and hormones. And then there are multiple other opportunities just to, we call it curbsiding. Say, hey, Dr. M, what do you think?
Right.
We also cover friends and lovers. Dr. Juliana Hauser is giving 2 fireside chats about how friendships change and how lover relationships change. I talk all about the musculoskeletal syndrome of menopause. So let's talk about that. 80% of women will have one of the 6 things: total body aches, which is called arthralgia, loss of lean muscle mass, loss of bone density, increase in their arthritis, their actual arthritis, huge inflammatory responses, including the famous and terrible frozen shoulder,
right?
Changes in our body fat distribution, all of these 6 things I count within the musculoskeletal syndrome of menopause. 80% of women will have one of them. 25% will be devastated. And when you go to a doctor, if they do diagnostic tests, 41% of the time they will find nothing. And you will sit there and ask yourself, WTF, and
Right.
you're just going crazy.
Right.
And you're not. It's because your girlfriend estrogen has walked out the door. And estrogen is so important in all of these things. So I also teach this at these retreats, besides hormones and menopause from the expert, friends and lovers from the expert, musculoskeletal syndrome from the expert. We have, in addition, every woman gets their own actionable plan because we measure your lactate threshold, which is how, at what heart rate you should work out to build the best cardiovascular engine. We teach you how to lift heavy. I pair you with Jason Corelli, our strength and conditioning coach. This time we're adding a session with Coach B, who is our speed and agility coach. Do you know why? Because one of the ways to prevent falling and breaking your hip and dying is to have balance and foot speed. It's not only for track and field athletes.
Right.
So we're going to teach you. We also have 45 minutes with Dr. Patty Beers, who is our pelvic floor therapist in my practice. She's going to teach you why Kegels are never going to be enough. And so as you can see, this is not just a conference where you sit in a chair all day. This is a conference where you actually learn a lifestyle. And it's really, and this time, oh my gosh, in May and November, we do this extra thing. In May, on Saturdays, we give women an option. You can spa or you can Spartan.
Yes.
Spa or Spartan.
Yeah.
So
the options are endless.
The one woman is good. I mean, a third of the women are coming with me to do a Spartan race. The other 2/3 are sitting by the pool getting a massage and facial. It's whatever makes you happy. So anyway, see, you let me start talking and I'm off.
I know. Well, it's fantastic. Let me home in a little bit more on some of what you're going to talk about during this retreat. And really sort of beyond that, kind of why these things matter and are worthy of discussion and worthy of us understanding. So one of those things that I noticed that you're going to get into is zone 2 training. Can you tell us what it is once and for all? Because I think I have an understanding, but it just seems I feel I've got to be wrong. So let us know. I can't be the only one.
So we're coming off a time, and I did this, where we want to do high intensity interval training 7 days a week and just burn the heck out of our joints and body. And because we felt like as if we weren't grinding it out at the highest possible heart rate, we weren't working hard enough. Well, I'm a sports doctor. That is the main hat I wear. And I'm going to tell you that is not how professional athletes train. Endurance athletes train at it's called base training at a lower heart rate zone. We zone heart rates according to how high it gets. Zone 2, which I'm going to talk about, is the base training. It makes you most metabolically flexible. It is a lower heart rate than you suspect, but being really good at a lower heart rate makes you better at the highest heart rates. The highest is your VO2 max heart rate, which adds to longevity. Okay. So instead of burning out every day, spinning as hard as you can on your branded bike,
right,
or killing yourself running, we need to invest 3 hours a week in zone 2, which, if you're not measuring lactate threshold like we do at the retreat, is 181 minus your age for most people. 3 hours a week and 45-minute sessions, but that's not all. Midlife women do need to sprint. Now, don't be wigged out by the word sprint. I'm not talking about doing what Richardson, the sprinter, does. She's amazing. Or Usain Bolt. It is as fast as your little legs can carry you.
Okay.
But only for 30 seconds. So imagine this. I do mine on a treadmill. I did it last night on a treadmill. 45 minutes. My zone 2 heart rate is 130. I accomplished that with an incline of 4 and a speed of 4. And I'm just going along. When I'm done with my 45 minutes, I take off the weighted vest I wear to build better bones, and I punch this treadmill up to 11. And then I run as fast as I can without falling off the back, right?
For 30 seconds.
Only 30 seconds.
Okay.
And then I totally recover. Totally. I'm walking on this treadmill again. for 2 to 3 minutes. So we do that 4 times.
Okay.
So we're still working at a high intensity, but not like we used to for an hour in an aerobics class, right?
Right.
Zone 2, low heart rate based training, sprint intervals. And that's how, coupled with weight training, which we may get into, we totally recompose our body. We're not trying to lose weight in the traditional sense. We're trying to recompose our body. It matters what we're made of.
So to that, doctor, right, and you mentioned this a few minutes ago, but body composition testing, biomarker measurements, why is this information informative to women in midlife?
You can't know where you're going unless you know where you are. So many women, we're taught to calorie restrict, don't eat a lot of food. We think we need to lose weight. Well, sometimes we do actually need to lose pounds, but if you only lose weight without investing in your protein, without lifting heavy, without working to recompose, you're going to lose 50% fat and 50% muscle. Lack of muscle will make you frail, fall down, and die. Not on my watch. So we cannot know where we're starting, where we're going unless we start. So body composition is just a way to tell how much muscle do we have? What percentage of fat do we have? So that when we're working so hard, we can see what happens, right?
Okay.
So we do that. The other thing, what did you ask me? Oh, biomarkers. Biomarkers of aging, the panel we do at the retreat, just as a baseline, tells us how your organs are functioning, but it also tells us about your energy stores. Do you have enough NAD+, which is a critical energy supply for women? What's going on with your inflammation? We draw inflammation markers. Are you just hot and red all over inside? That's why you feel so bad? We can tell you that. Do you have a lot of zombie cells circulating around? Zombie cells are those cells that are done with their good job, but they won't turn off and die. What cells are supposed to do is do their job and then turn off and die. Zombie cells, which are part of aging, can lead to cancer, are those cells that refuse to work and refuse to die. They just circulate around, creating all kinds of bad chemicals in your body.
Fascinating.
It is fascinating. And we measure those so we know where we are. There are supplements we can take. There are activities we can do to minimize those. I draw biomarkers and we do body composition because you can't know where you're going until you know where you are.
So Dr. Wright, some of the other sort of silos, sorry, I keep using that word, but you focus on, and you're alluding to it, nutrition, decreasing inflammation, hormones. I know you're going, Dr. Men will be joining you to really dive into that. Pelvic floor, incontinence, prolapse. I just want to give you a few minutes before we turn to some questions. I found this part of your literature about your program to be just very, very special in that you continue to use the word authenticity and agency. And I want you, I want to just give you a minute. You bring it up with regards to friendships and relationships, communications, intimacy, living an authentic life. What does that mean for you? What does it mean for us?
Yes. When I describe this time, midlife time for women, I use the words ageless, authentic, and indefinable. And here's why. I'm 57. I talk about it all the time, but I do not know what that's supposed to mean because I refuse to be defined by the number of candles I have on my birthday cake that could frankly burn down my whole kitchen. It's a big fire when I light them on because I feel ageless. Age, the chronologic age means nothing to me. I think we need to stop believing what Hallmark tells us, that at some point we're over the hill. I think that's total BS, right? So we need to pivot our attitude from, I always look over my left shoulder, from worshiping our youth, worshiping 25, which frankly,
no thanks,
may not have been that good anyway, right?
No interest in going back.
Easier, but it wasn't for me that easy anyway. We
Yeah.
need to pivot to ignore the number one. Number two, which allows us to be authentically who we are. I've learned a lot in the last 57 years. I can authentically, meaning I show up for you guys in my bathrobe.
Yeah.
I show up in a towel. I show up with a ponytail that I haven't combed in 3 days because you know what? It's who I am today. I get to be whoever. That, my friend, is a superpower. The power to be authentically the way you show up is a superpower, because we are not defined by anybody else's standard. Number three, that means I'm indefinable. I'm going to crook my little finger at people. Don't you dare tell me who I'm supposed to be at this age. I will tell you.
Ooh, I love it. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So all of these things are so liberating, so freeing. You know, we get to be who we are because we carry with us the experience that comes with aging.
Yeah.
I have no problem with aging because I have learned so much in the 57 years that I think the best is yet to come. And I'm afraid I'm going to run out of time before I get to do all the great stuff that I think I would say.
Dr. Wright, you're amazing. Thank you for that very, very much. Questions. I'm pivoting us now.
Okay.
How heavy should I start lifting? Right now I'm doing about 30 pounds. I know that's hard to maybe gauge, but tell us what you think.
30 pounds on what, right?
Right.
30 pounds on your arms is heavy. 30 pounds on your legs. Let's go, girl.
Okay.
So when I say heavy, it's defined as this. What you can lift 4 times, times 4, not 20 reps in a set. We're not trying to build hypertrophy. Maybe you are, but what I lift for is longevity and power. Longevity and power. If you want hypertrophy, then you lift a small weight.
Tell us what that is. I don't know that term.
Hypertrophy is growing muscles.
Okay.
Growing muscle just to get big, not strong.
Okay.
I want to build power. Power is what is going to keep you off the kitchen floor and not break your hip.
Yep.
Power is the strength to open your own pickle jar, right? Power is defined as strength over time. We can be strong in one instance. I want to be strong over time. You do that by lifting heavy. 4 reps, 4 sets. So what is heavy? Here's my example for my arm. I can biceps curl 15 pounds until tomorrow morning, but I can only biceps curl 25 pounds 4 times.
4 times.
Before I'm like lifting with my whole body, right?
Wow, wow, wow.
So that is, when someone says, what is heavy? Well, what is heavy for you? It's individual. And you won't know that without a little experimentation.
Sure. Awesome. Thank you for that. Okay, next question. Can I do the jumps, plus or minus, vibration plates? I find those really interesting, those vibration plates.
Yeah.
Are they effective? Are they doing something? Are they equivalent to jumping? This woman says she has osteoporosis as well.
Yeah, you know, so let's talk not osteoporosis, then osteoporosis. So jumping, the impact of hitting the ground is great for bones. You only need to do it 20 times a day. I did a study that was published quite a while ago that showed impact exercise, bashing your bones, is as good for preventing osteoporosis as things like not being a woman, not being older, right? I mean, it's as powerful as things we can't change. So we need to do impact. If you cannot do impact because your joints hurt, because you're already osteoporotic, well, there's some good data about vibratory plates. Standing there on a vibratory plate will stimulate the bones. Jumping on a trampoline, which is called rebounding, also has some good data. You can build muscle, which will pull on the bones, because muscle and bone, I haven't talked about this a lot online, but I'm going to. In musculoskeletal people's minds is one organ. It's one ecosystem talking back and forth to each other. It's not bones over here and muscles over here. It's an ecosystem. So building better muscles will help build better bones.
Okay.
And you can lift weights in a pool. I haven't posted about it yet, but there's a company that makes barbells for the pool that
Wow.
use the resistance of the water. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
Okay. Somebody asks, and I think you've sort of spoken to this or in a roundabout way, but just a yes or no, can I lift heavy if I already have osteoporosis? Is that a, if you can do it, if you can't?
You can lift as heavy as your bones will bear.
Awesome. Thank you. Is it true vitamin D3 and K2 will not absorb properly without estrogen?
I have not read that.
Okay. Does the lack of estrogen, this woman is not on menopause hormonal treatment, affect tendons? She recently
Yes.
ruptured her Achilles.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't often talk about tendons as much as I talk about the other things, but yes, it is critically involved in the structural integrity of tendons, ligaments, cartilage, muscle, and bone.
Terrific. Thank you. Someone asks, she says, rather, I struggle with muscle and joint pain. I am post most other menopausal symptoms. She's 59. I continue to exercise and lift weights because stopping is not an option for me. Is there a form of estrogen you feel is best for arthralgia? Does it matter?
Estradiol transdermal patches.
Really? Okay, there
And
you
you know
are.
what? To that, I have not done a good long trial with your spray stuff. I have not. I have
You've
some.
missed. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is that form. I just have not trialed
Yep.
it myself.
People
So
love it.
that's estradiol.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about kind of estrogen, estradiol. What I personally and many of the menopause try to avoid, this may get me in trouble, is pellets because we can't
Yeah.
control it. We can't
Yeah.
control dosages. It's very expensive. It's not democratized. We can dial up and down both the spray and the patch more easily.
Terrific. Thank you so much for that. I'm just going to pick out a few questions that came in sort of randomly. Can you comment on resistance bands for strength training?
You know what? You know, there you can build muscle with those. You have to use really heavy resistance bands, and timing is important. You can't just go, it has to be heavy enough that it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
It takes a lot more discipline and very heavy bands.
Dr. Wright, is there an age sort of limit to anyone who might join your retreat?
There is no age limit. However, on average, people are 40 to 65.
Okay. And do you offer a program for women who can't make it to the conference?
You know what? We are recording this time, and I think I'm going to release some of that probably with my alloy to make it available. But the point is, we do a lot of testing here. So when we release next year's dates, I think what you have to do is make this one of your vacations.
Yeah.
We are in Florida.
Yes.
It is a luxury hotel, you know.
And to your point about what you offer, there is downtime, there is sort of revved up time.
That's right.
But the point is that it's informational, it's educational, and it's sort of setting you up to address what's happening today and shoring you up for the future. Is that fair?
That's right. And you have a concrete, personalized plan. My plan is not your plan. It's your plan, right? And you walk away with that.
Thank you, Dr. Wright. One last question I see here. There's many, but I'm just grabbing one. I've had a hysterectomy and I'm always afraid of organ prolapse if I'm jumping around on a trampoline or box jumps. What are your thoughts?
I think trampolines are much more gentle than box jumping because there's the give versus the hard landing. But if you're worried about prolapse, that's when finding a great pelvic floor therapist in your area can be critical, number one. Number two, the pelvic floor is skeletal muscle. So you must feed it with protein, just like you do any other muscle group.
Finally, Dr. Wright, I hear you speaking about weights in terms of sort of real world moments, meaning getting the groceries out of your car, picking
Yeah.
up children, moving furniture around. I guess I just sort of want to get your thoughts on the heavy lifting, the pushing, the pulling that we do daily,
Yeah.
hopefully, perhaps, and help us kind of understand why, again, lifting is so critical to real world stuff.
So it is not about the little black dress.
Mm.
It is not about looking good, although you will look leaner. Here's what it's about. It's about when you're 75 years old, not falling down from a standing position in your own kitchen
Yeah.
because you're too weak.
Yeah.
It's about being able to live independently at every age that you want to. It's about being able to travel and get your suitcase above your head because there might not always be someone to help you.
Right.
It's about
Right.
being able to open your own pickle jars. It is about doing what you want when you want it, on top of being metabolically healthy enough not to go to 3 doctor's visits a week. That is what all of this is about, because you've worked hard your whole life.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to be able to enjoy that as later in life. And so today we invest the time that will be the physical bank account that we will use later.
Dr. Wright, for anybody who's missed the May retreat, August is still open. You said there's another in November. If you want to learn more, where can we go to learn more?
Right after this, in my stories, I'm going to post the link to sign up. And
Terrific.
then my staff then sends all the details to you. If you want to go right this minute, go to my profile. It's listed as a link there, or you're always welcome to DM me. But May is closed, August is open, and I just want to thank you, Rachel, and the whole My Alloy crew for being so supportive of women, for helping to make this retreat possible. I think women are worth investing in, and I'm so thankful that you're partnering with me for the May and August retreats.
Well, thank you, Dr. Wright. We are absolute fans of yours, and as we always say, we see you, we hear you, we are you, we are one of you, we are going through it too, and as much as we want to help others, we want to help ourselves as well, and your work is just dynamic and profoundly impactful, and we just adore and love you so much. And thank you for this half hour. I know you're a hard stop, so I'm going to let you go. I want to thank everyone who showed up today, and also Dr. Wright kindly sort of gave it up that we can do this again soon.
Yeah.
In our
Whenever.
DM. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna schedule that with you again, and hopefully another webinar, and we'll be back around real soon and have your questions answered. Thank you so much, Dr. Wright. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Such a pleasure. Enjoy. Bye-bye.